All right, we did how to draw a robot default. What about monster? Okay, monster crumb-holds. So first of all, same thing we were talking about before, they both have a line of action. So you kind of start with basically a tube shape here is the basics. Now with monster though, there's a couple things. Remember that he's a little bit wider at the top, like he's like a little bit wider at the top, smaller like that. So even when we're doing them like this, we want to make sure we get, it's nice and bulky, it's not too thin. And again, when you're drawing these curves, if you're right-handed or left-handed, you want to draw so this line is always flowing with the natural way your hand moves. So we're going to sketch this out first. I always like to draw these guys at 3/4. Then kind of where the pants line is here. Then I always like in motion. I like monster in motion. I like his feet. With his feet, what you can do just to kind of indicate is do two ovals, and they're parallel because one foot's going to be going forward and up, the other foot's going to be running. So we're seeing kind of the top and back. Then his arms going to be like right around here. We'll put them both up. All right, so then once we have this basic shape, now his eyes. Remember, monster doesn't have eyebrows or eye ridges. He doesn't have cheeks. He has his facial features. He's just kind of like a mask in the sense that he's all emotion. So his face is just one giant expression of whatever he's feeling. But I never wanted to give him any big facial features. I had designed a show called The Save'ems years before that. And when I designed those characters, it was a similar thing where I liked the simple black eyes. And remember, he doesn't have eyebrows or eye ridges or cheeks or anything like that. So what you're doing is when you give him different emotions, you're just shaping the eyes. So surprised, they'd be widened. If he's mad, same thing. You're just squishing the eye shape. You're not deforming his face to work around that. So there we go. So then, big wide mouth, tongue indicated here. Now remember his horns. I believe one is longer than the other. I think it's this one. It's hard to say. It's been a long time since I've been drawing him on a regular basis. I have drawn him thousands of times, but remembering subtle things like that. One of the things I like too is I like having his hat, unless he's stopped just standing still, I like to have his hat always kind of like hovering above his head. Just gives it a bunch of life and weirdness that his hat is hovering right above his head. Round shapes. The hat is round. Put some indications of highlights there. So then we can go around like this. Kind of like, let's turn the paper. I like this big paper. Has a really smooth surface to it. When I use paper, I like to use whatever's on hand. I don't have too many special papers. If I'm drawing something for art that's going to be permanently displayed, I'll use Bristol board. When I'm just drawing to get a sketch going, I use anything from just printer paper to, like I said, the stuff's on 11 by 17. I even like laser paper. Laser paper has really smooth. Just whatever paper gives you a nice smooth line. There we go, arms up in the air. So the arms fall about midway. And remember, his arms, they taper, they're thick at the shoulder and they taper down, so they're thinner at the hand. And I know I had run into a couple animation people who told me, well, it's improper because it's better to have things thin and then go thick. That's an opinion. I don't particularly follow that one. But for this guy, thick where it joins his body. Now, his short little legs and his pants. So his pants are always simple, just kind of a waistband here. And then you're just kind of doing a circle right here, part of a circle. Then, so the leg or the foot that is facing camera here, and then whatever pant leg is following through there. And again, draw through, like when you want to get that nice roundness, may be incorrect, but since my hand moves like this, I will draw a circle like that, draw the entire oval, and then we'll erase it later. So draw the shape through, just like this, draw it through the arms, we'll erase it later. Same thing with the horns. Like now that I kind of made that initial sketch to place them. Yeah, I got a weird camera configuration here. None of the camera configurations really work for me because I can't sit like that, where the camera's kind of like over your shoulder. It's too close. I need room. All right. So now we got this stuff all sketched out. Now the lips, same thing with the lips, just lightly sketch. They're not too thick. They can be like thicker at the bottom. So give them a little bit of life. Slightly thicker at the bottom, slightly, just slightly. But do the mouth shape first before you draw the lips, because we're giving them an emotion. There we go. Tongue. That'll be the interior of the mouth. Okay, now we're at the point where let's do some erasing. Just a nice, soft block eraser works pretty well. You can use a kneaded eraser to kind of like take everything down. I know some artists, the way they work is after they do the sketch, they almost take it down to nothing before they do the final line, which is cool. That works for some people. See, look, I even have a robot and a post-it that I was doing for some other piece of art. I can't remember. Draw on whatever is available, even if you work digitally. It's like a lot of this stuff I will, when I do book illustration, I will do the initial layout in Photoshop on Cintiq, just to scribble in the characters, get the basic forms where they're going to appear on the page. Then, once it is all approved, I will print those out full size. So when you're doing a book illustration, usually it's on 11 by 17 paper. So I will print out those very rough illustrations, and then I will put them on a light table, and then I will draw the pencil line over that, because I still personally really like pencil line energy. I, I work with the Cintiq a lot in Photoshop, and I do a lot to get the brushes to do exactly what I want them to do. I just still haven't found anything that does the pencil line the way I like it. Right, so here we'll get the horns in. The other thing too is there's a little, as you notice, there's a little bit of a dip in his head. It's not just a straight line, it's just a slight dip. One side is taller than the other, so since he's here in 3/4, we'll give that a little space. Now the other thing with his horn placement, like I was saying before, you can draw through to make sure that the horn's going to end up on his body where it's supposed to be. But I think we got a pretty good position on these guys. I like to see him running, energetic. That's his personality. Hat up in the air, flying around. Eyes. Yeah, no eyebrows, no cheeks. None of that stuff. He's a real simple character. Now, get down here, same thing. Again, what we were talking about with our drawing robot is line weight. This type of drawing, we can do a little bit of line weight work where we're going to make the lower lines a little bit heavier, more substantial than the upper lines, which can be lighter. This just gives the drawing a little more dynamic feeling to it. It's not just one uniform line all the way through. Bottom of the arm. Kind of get that thing going. Yeah, I always drew different characters. So it was very hard for me when I was kind of starting out to get jobs in animation, only because I was not good at drawing other people's styles, which is kind of what you got to be ready to do when you first get into animation. If you're copying someone else's style, it's helpful if you can do that. Do it. Learn the way things work. Ultimately, it did work out for me, but believe me, there were a lot of years where I needed work and I couldn't get it. So that happens too. Right now, little shading. That's basically our guy. Wait, tongue. You can shade the mouth or not, either way. But then lighting, kind of same thing we were talking about with robot. If we choose where the light's coming from, let's say it's up here, coming this way, so that means the horns are going to cast a shadow here. So that means we're a cast shadow. See where it joins there. I'm going to join it here. This will help give it dimension. He won't look so flat. Same thing here. Let's do his arm like that. Hey, I avoided doing any really horrible tangents on this one too. How about that? Miracles happen occasionally. Yeah, he does. Monster doesn't have as many places for tangents to happen as Robot does because he has a lot of parts. His arms go in front of him. Then we'll do this here. Get some light down here. Shade his pants. All right. It's pretty much the guy. Oh, yeah. Okay, hat. Here's the thing about his hat. Shade it like this. Bring the shading around, like that. Usually I try to bring it to one center circle and then just kind of like make that the highlight. And then if I was doing this in color, what I'd probably do is I'd darken this area. I'd probably run a really thin line of lighter color, like right here along the edge, just to pull it away from everything else. Here we go. Monster Krumholtz. Happy, running, energetic as always. All right, I think we're going to do some more of these characters. It's really fun, and you guys seem to like it. So looking forward to next time.